Matt, I'm the Chief Executive of Trust Links. As you may have seen in the goodie bags and the pin badges that you've got on the way in, Trust Links is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, which is very exciting. So we've been operating in Essex since the year 2000 and run a whole range of projects and services. We've kind of got two main charitable objectives. One is mental health and well-being and supporting people with a whole range of mental health issues in our community. The second is environmental education and awareness, which is why this conference is so important to us, because it's about promoting biodiversity, kind of combating climate change, working as a community to support the environment. So we've got a whole range of projects and services, as I say. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of them so that you get that sense of the work that we do and why it's so important. So we've got the Growing Together Therapeutic Community Garden projects, Reach Wellbeing Hub and Recovery College, Children, Youth, Families projects, and lots of other offshoots as well. So things like Eco Days, our environmental work, TLC, our Trustings Counselling, long COVID support, and a range of other projects and services across Essex. So primarily we were founded to support mental health issues. In the sort of late 90s, lots of people were discharged from hospital out in the community. They kind of had their clinical needs met, they might have had their psychological needs met, but they certainly didn't have their social needs met. So they were wandering into churches, into community spaces, kind of a bit lost and a bit unconnected, disconnected from their communities. So the founders, we brought our founders back last week at our 25th celebration, which was really lovely. And they were talking about that sense of kind of hopelessness and lack of connection, lack of opportunity for the people that, that were coming into their churches, into their communities. That hasn't reduced really. Obviously the work that we do helps to reduce that, but there is still this massive need across Essex and indeed nationally. You know, we're the loneliness most disconnected country in the UK. 1 in 4 people suffer from a mental health problem. So many of us in this room have had mental health issues, I'm sure. Many of us have families and friends and others in our networks, in our workplaces that have mental health challenges. It's normal, it's okay. But there's also things that we can do to help address that, and that's where we come in. Obviously, mental health is also exacerbated by poverty, urban deprivation, social exclusion, lots of other factors. So it's how do we work together, particularly in our deprived urban areas, to address mental health challenges. And obviously people with chaotic, unsafe, multifaceted, complex, deep-rooted problems. I mean, mental health is not discriminatory. It can affect people who are very wealthy and who are connected and fine too. But obviously the people without that other social support and the connections, without the money to pay for therapy, are the people that are most affected. So that's why we kind of base ourselves in these sort of areas of urban deprivation and need. So the Growing Together Therapeutic Community Gardens are our founding project. You can come and visit the gardens. They're really beautiful. They're very engaging. And it looks like everybody's just gardening and having a lovely time, which they are. I suppose behind that so much also happens. We have a lot of processes, a lot of systems, a lot of safeguards in place to support people, because we have people right from people with anxiety, depression, confidence issues, social isolation, through to people with bipolar, schizophrenia, personality disorder, lots of other things going on in their lives. Could be substance misuse issues, alcohol, worklessness, unemployment, that sort of thing. So we kind of have to put lots of structures in place to address that. And then when people come, it's a whole range of positive activities, from horticultural activities where we do the level 1 and level 2 diploma with city and guilds. We're also do things like music and art, yoga, creative writing, all those sort of positive activities that help people build up their confidence, build up their skills, build up those connections with other people. Some fantastic examples of people that we work with. So we started in Southend in Westcliff, opposite Southend Football Ground, if you know Southend, right in the heart of urban area. A 1-acre beautiful site that was an overgrown dumping ground, previously an allotment, but very much disused for quite a long period of time. Over the years, we've kind of stretched our branches out to different areas. So right across from Shoebury Ness, right up to Cressing Temple in Braintree, Basildon 2023, and we're launching our new site on Canvey Island this year, which we're really excited about. So just to give you the example of the one in Basildon, so Tracy and I have been working on getting the site in Basildon for probably about 10 years. It was a very long slog in terms of getting things like the lease on the site. Planning permission took an awful long time. Funding obviously takes an awful long time. Community engagement, just getting people to know that it's there. So this is the before pictures. This is in Vange, just round the corner. It was a sloping site. It's quite difficult terrain. It's sort of a sort of municipal grassland before, but there was a community garden. That's the kind of the fenced off bit in the middle that was sort of a slightly more flat area. What happens often with community gardens is that they start up, there's a lot of enthusiasm, people put some money into it, it's all very exciting, and then like a year or two later the energy goes, the money goes, they don't get sustained. Our approach is really different to that. We kind of, once we're there, we sustain it, we keep it going, because it's so important for the community that they have that place, that engagement is not a flash in the pan. And I think that's what loses trust with communities. I think people see these things come and go, and projects from sort of charities and organisations come and go, but the important thing is that we're there to sustain it. So as I said, it took about 10 years to get to the point where we had the money, we had the lease, we had the planning permission, we had all the permissions from the council, we had great support from Basildon Council. Can't speak highly enough of colleagues there, to develop the site. And eventually we launched, which was May 2023. So we've got quite amazing terraces. Some of you came and did the workshops at our Basildon site. And some amazing features, the green roof gazebo, nice potting shed, and it continues to evolve and develop. And I know some of the guys that were doing the workshops with us were looking at doing a green roof on the building, and like there's so many things we could do, and that's the exciting thing, that a garden never stops, does it? There's always evolution and development and new things, new features that we can put in the site. And now it's just a wonderful place. That's the lunch we held when we had Felicity and others come and visit. We held a summer fair there at the end of June. About 400 people came through the doors just for 3 hours on a Saturday. Lots of families, so many young children, doing amazing interaction. And it was just completely buzzing. And it's, you think go from that empty monoculture grassland through to a buzzing, biodiverse community where people are all connecting with one another. And that's what it's all about. So we obviously have to justify to our funders the impact that we make. We can tell the wonderful stories of the individuals, the difference it makes, but we also measure outcomes through tangible outcome scales. So this is the short Warwick Edinburgh Mental Wellbeing Scale, which is a nationally validated tool for wellbeing and outcomes. And this graph basically shows that before people come to Growing Together, their wellbeing is significantly worse than the national average of wellbeing. When you look at people, because obviously they're coming with mental health challenges and those needs, so their well-being is worse. But then once they've come, the T2 score is basically after 3 months, we remeasure their well-being on this scale, and it shoots up to above the national average, which is 23.63. So it kind of gets people more happy, more well than the general population. And then the subsequent scores basically show that people sustain that well-being by keeping their engagement, which is so important. It's quite easy to have that initial boost when you have that confidence and something to engage with, but then to keep that well-being and stop people's well-being from deteriorating and stop people needing inpatient hospital services and clinical services and social care services, we save the state a fortune. We also go out into the community, so we expect people to come to us, but we also increasingly trying to go out to them. So we've got a project in Basildon Town Centre working with the planters there, which is really exciting. We go out and do tree planting, and we've got partnerships with other organisations that do tree planting out in our communities. Just a really great way of engaging people and coming to them where they're at, because we can't expect them to all come to us. And particularly in those deprived urban areas, I love things like this photo with the tower blocks in the background and then the trees in the foreground, the sort of work that I know John has also been doing for years, which is really fantastic. And then obviously, we've got to get everybody at whatever stage of life they're at. So we've developed a whole range of projects for children, young people, both at a very early years stage and then through teenage years. We're doing forest schools now, so we've got a whole load of forest schooled qualified practitioners, which is fantastic. And also those opportunities for young people to engage with mental health, peer support, early years support, alternative education, a whole range of projects around that. And then our reach services kind of span that broader psycho-educational social support. So things like recovery college, depression and wellbeing pathway, befriending, co-production, which kind of engages people in a whole range of positive activities to help them understand their own mental health better, and to be able to kind of build that resilience, which is really important in mental health. And then kind of alongside that, Fiona's here from our Eco Days projects, which are really fantastic to enable people to learn about their own mental health. To help people learn about skills to combat climate change and build resilience around that. And kind of building that community as well, because it's got to be kind of building those friendships, those peer support networks, those opportunities to engage with other people.